Hey, how we doing, everybody? I thought we'd have a night reading tonight out of our Bible. And keep in mind, the nice thing about this book is that you can skip my commentary, as I'm confident that the 75 entries will speak volumes themselves as to just how obscene they are. But in that case, I thought we would read passage number 36, good one tonight, the Voyeur of Sperm Spillage. Genesis chapter 38, verses 1 through 10, in the New Living Translation. About this time, Judah left home and moved to Adullam, where he stayed with a man named Hira. There he saw a Canaanite woman, the daughter of Shua, and he married her. When he slept with her, she became pregnant and gave birth to a son, and he named the boy Then she became pregnant again and gave birth to another son, and she named him Onan. And when she gave birth to a third son, she named him Shelah. At the time of Shelah's birth, they were living at Kezib. In the course of time, Judah arranged for his firstborn son to marry a young woman named Tamar. But was a wicked man in the Lord's sight, so the Lord took his life. Then Judah said to Er's brother Onan, "Go and marry Tamar, as our law requires of the brother of a man who has died. You must produce an heir for your brother." But Onan was not willing to have a child who would not be his own heir, so whenever he had intercourse with his brother's wife, he spilled the semen on the ground. This prevented her from having a child who would belong to his brother. But the Lord considered it evil for Onan to deny a child to his dead brother, so the Lord took Onan's life too. We'll skip over the King James Version. I think we have enough there already. Sandwiched between the story of Joseph's rise to stardom in the land of Egypt, we're endowed with this pleasant account of Judah, Tamar, and Onan. We must remember that, as stated in the prior commentary of passage number 37, Jewish tradition upholds the belief that the Torah was entirely dictated by God and transcribed by Moses. There are a variety of approaches as to how and when this all transpired, yet the overall divinity of the Torah, right down to these very stories, is broadly undisputed. In regard to the passage at hand, we can meet in the middle between God done it and the cave-dwelling myth specialist done it, and ultimately credit Moses for this emission of lunacy, among other things. With the underlying theme of our featured story being that of ancient erotica, we can presume the King James Version is most accurate in its verse 2 recounting of Judah quickly pouncing on Shua. The steamy romance continues, and they eventually have a brood of 3 boys. Judah, with his keen eye for women, and particularly for Tamar, cinches an arrangement for his firstborn son, The details run slim here, as Moses is eager to get to the good stuff. Verse 7 quickly eradicates in basically stating that God didn't like him, so he killed him. Judah's a strong fellow, so only minutes after mourning the murder of he calls on his son Onan, gives him a swift kick in the hiney, and says, "You're gonna go Mount Tamar and give your dead brother the boys he would have had, whether you like it or not." Onan doesn't seem to object, yet he decides to spill his seed rather than make some screaming babies. Seems like an easy win-win, but unbeknownst to Onan, there is one other than Judah who has eyes on Tamar and the sexual activities she engages in with Onan. The grand voyeur, God. In the New Living Translation, it appears there wasn't just one instance of sperm spillage, but many. God appears to be taking note, especially paying close attention to the climax, and finally decides he's sick of Onan pulling out, so he simply kills him too. Judah eventually takes care of business when he, conveniently thinking Tamar is a prostitute, gets her pregnant with twins, and they live happily ever after. Moses thought the obvious was on the table for the reader, but he kindly fields some questions. "You mean God didn't urge Judah to get the third son, Shelah, to try it out?" asked the reader. Obviously not," Moses replied. "Sorry I'm so dumb, but if God was watching Onan shoot his sperm on the ground and eventually killed him for it, wouldn't that imply that he also possessed the ability to somehow stop Judah from being tricked and impregnating Tamar?" the reader asked. "You're right, you really are dumb, because you keep asking questions rather than just believing what I wrote and the way I wrote it, or the way I heard it from God," Moses responded. Thanks. And just one more. I guess was wicked, and God killed him for it. Onan wouldn't impregnate Tamar, so God killed him too. Well, okay, no problem. Both seem perfectly logical. But Judah, other than being the culprit of all of this, solicited a prostitute, Tamar in disguise. And Tamar not only played the prostitute, but tricked Judah. Shouldn't God kill them too? The reader asked. You really are a slow learner. You've read all of my stories and still think I need help or advice with the storyline. If I thought that's how the story should go, I would have written it that way, Moses replied. Just shut up and believe the story, okay? Stop asking questions. 74 other entries in this book, the holy shit of the Bible. Link on the profile page. I hope you all have a great week. Much love to all of you, and see you later.